Oaks women. I am so excited. We are doing something really cool tonight. I'm at Fount Board and Table with the owner, Olivia, and she is here and she's going to teach me how to make an actual charcuterie board. So my husband, Chris, loves charcuterie board, but I simply put a pile of meat and a pile of cheese, and he's like, this is amazing. But I know that doesn't really count as a charcuterie board. So we've got an expert here who's going to show me how to make one that I would actually have y'all over to my house to proudly display the real charcuterie board that Olivia is going to teach us how to do. So these are just the prep plates that you've made. Okay, I could not even make a prep plate look like this. So I'm already impressed by simply how you just laid out the meat and cheese and fruit in this way. So I think this is really gonna help us, ladies. I know it's gonna help me really get more creative and exciting with my charcuterie. So, Olivia, show me what I do when I'm starting with this blank board and all of this amazing fruits and veggies and meats and cheeses. What do I do to make this look pretty?
Cool. Well, I always kind of start beforehand, and I think that when you're entertaining, there's always some sort of mindfulness to who you're having over.
Sure.
You know, what I think that a part of the process too for me is shopping for things, and although I'm shopping for things with distributors and at warehouses and stuff and with our farmers, a lot of these things you can find in a regular grocery store too. Okay. But I'm always mindful of people who might not eat pork, so I always have a bresaola, which is an air-dried Wagyu beef.
That's this?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's beautiful. It adds a lot of contrast too.
Okay.
And then I added the Miticacana de Cabra, which is a fudgy goat cheese for somebody who might not eat cow's milk too.
Okay.
We have gluten-free crackers. I think that when you're making something like this, it's kind of you're either giving it to somebody as a love language or you're sharing it with people. So being mindful that it doesn't exclude anybody is really important.
Okay, good. Step one. Wouldn't have thought of that. So you've already helped me. I can't say the names of most of the things you said. So this is a whole new world for me.
Yeah. I also just really like the middle ground grapes too. These are Moscato grapes. They're absolutely fantastic. Using something in season is really important to me too. Okay. We're just about to move into champagne grapes, and that's they're so beautiful. They're purple, and I think that even on these plates, to be able to see the contrast of it is kind of where I start. It always helps me plan where things are gonna go too. Okay. So I'll go big to small. So I'll start with the cheeses. Okay. And this is a manchego. I pre-cut these. Okay. And
little triangles.
Yes.
Got it.
And I'll kind of fan it out too. Keeping visibility on everything is really important to me. And then also creating sides to it. So there's some symmetry.
That helps me. Okay. I like rules. So rule one.
Rule one.
Okay, got it.
And then I will grab this goat cheese. Okay. I'll put this over here. And I'll kind of separate this too, doing the same kind of fanning sort of technique. I think there's one little guy still hiding under there. Yes, there is. And then I would grab this raw milk cheddar. Everybody loves cheddar. Yes. That's a great kind of crowd pleaser. I generally don't also kind of mark cheeses because I think it keeps people from trying things that they've never had.
Yeah, no, that's a really good idea. It's just out there, and we can be adventurous in our charcuterie.
And then I'll go grapes.
Cheeses, then grapes.
And all those are kind of away from each other too. Okay. So we're creating these little sections, right?
Right.
And that just kind of naturally allows the other stuff to come in. Okay. And then it'll kind of happen very quickly.
Can I add these grapes here, or they stay from something else? Okay, so add those grapes there. Okay.
Do you want to learn how to fold?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I don't know.
Grab one of these. Okay. That's prosciutto.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, is that
They're kind of in pieces too, and I like to kind of break them up because nobody wants to eat a gigantic piece of prosciutto.
It's very true.
And then I'll kind of put my thumb and my forefinger in the middle, and then wrap it around a little bit. See how it kind of rolls over? Yes. And that creates some dimension to it. Yours is more dimension-y, but kind of helps it.
Going here?
Yep.
Oh,
pop up a little bit.
So pretty. Okay, but that's good.
You can put some on the other side too.
Okay.
And that kind of help. And I always leave the stray grapes, the ones that you have in the bottom of the bag, and I keep them and I put them on top so that it covers up the stems.
Oh.
And that makes it look like the most perfect little bunch of grapes.
Yeah, it does. Okay. That's not what you did, but I'm really proud of myself for just folding meat.
Trying is the hardest part.
I moved from piling to folding. So I think that's good.
I'll do the same thing with this bresaola too. how, you can ask your butcher too. We love Jimmy's Food Store. Okay. And we have a great relationship with them. And sometimes we'll ask them like, hey, go a little bit thicker on this or go a little bit thinner on something. And that way, because sometimes you'll get a thicker cut, like salami or prosciutto, and you're buying the same amount. Say you're buying a pound, but it's the difference between like 30 and 60 pieces, you know? So it can help you if you're doing something on a budget, help something go farther,
Yeah, I think this is like a really economical way to host. That I don't know that people tend to eat as much when they're doing a charcuterie. What do you think? Do people eat more or less off a charcuterie board?
It's so funny because when people are at an event, they eat much less than if they're in someone's home. Yeah, which I think that I find that very romantic, that somebody feels like comfortable, or nervous when they're at your house.
I'm kind of proud of this one right here.
It's very pretty.
That's like the first flour meat I've ever rolled. I can do it. I'm excited now, without looking. You know how some people can like draw their lip liner or eyeliner on, not looking, or like in the dark. That's I can't
with
do that
charcuterie now.
That is a great talent to have.
It can kind of be all over too. I always, whenever we hire somebody and we're training somebody, I'm always like, be mindful of it, but don't overthink it.
Okay, that's good advice.
That will. If you overthink it too much, then it can become very like, I don't know. Non-meditative, which can kind of...
I know, because I think the part of a charcuterie is that it makes, like, it takes work, but yet it's supposed to look like so easy. Yeah.
There's some simple rules that I follow, and it's always like, color, contrast. And then I try to like kind of elevate everything up too.
Oh, okay.
So staying like kind of in like some sort of color palette, if you notice like all the cheeses that I picked on this one were really light, and I think that helps contrast between some of those.
That's a good rule too. Okay, rule number 2, try to think of a color scheme. This is just a whole new... I'm a boy mom, so like eating is just very logistic to me. It's just like keep them fed and, so I so appreciate this.
Yeah, no candy. We fight that every day.
Yes. Okay, so now you're just kind of stuffing strawberries around.
Yeah, I think, again, like kind of away from each other. So I would go maybe over here or over there.
Okay.
And it also kind of helps. I like them on the edges too because it helps create some like visual interest to the outside, and on the green leafy parts too, it kind of like makes it look very full.
Yeah, you're right. It was so good just to set the full strawberry out there.
Yeah.
Keep all that color.
I would put the crackers maybe on the opposite side because then too, if you have 2 people on each side of the table, then they don't have to reach over.
Yes.
And that's kind of the same idea here too. You have 2 things on each side. Especially when we're doing large tables, I'm mindful of that symmetry so that you can travel around it and find things, but at the same time you can share something with something across the table without it being unavailable to them.
I love it.
And where there's these little empty spots, or I might try to create some, I'll put the blackberries. And this is where you get like the high contrast because you're putting something dark in between all the other stuff,
Yeah, so it feels like we've worked from big things to little things. I think you said that. Okay, so
yeah, so I put blackberries maybe here, or like here also.
Okay.
Some people too, we're kind of in like a new genre of a business, and I always love to follow some of like the other charcuterie girls, and everybody has a different way of doing something, which I think is really fun, or a different style. Yeah. So, taking inspiration from that, because this is kind of a nightmare for people who they don't like their food to touch. And there are some people who do things like a little bit more segmented. We're a little bit more romantic with it. I would then put like blueberries on top of the blackberries. And then sprinkle it in there, and that will add like another layer of contrast within that contrast.
So we're like building higher and higher. We built around first, and now we're going up. Yeah, I would never think to add the blueberries on top of the blackberries.
Yeah. I think just keeping those kind of tastes together too.
Yeah.
If I'll get really technical, I will put things that taste, I won't put things that taste dichotically together on the same thing.
Okay.
Like I would put these peppers in here because they taste really wonderful with.
Yeah, what are these?
Those are little Anzia peppers.
Am I right? Am I sticking it up like that?
Yeah, you can. Okay. Yeah, we do it either way. And then it tastes good with the charcuterie too. But I wouldn't put them in a pile of the fruit.
Got it.
Because it would be too kind of like sour.
Yep. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about what was in the middle.
Those are Castelvetrano olives.
Ooh.
Those are my favorite. I like leaving them with the pits.
Okay.
Because I think they look better, but some people aren't pit people, which is totally
Yeah,
fine.
yeah, okay.
Some people don't like the pits, and it's kind of awkward when you don't know what to do with the pits at a party.
Oh yeah, that's true. Like sunflower seeds.
Yeah,
Spin them.
totally. I will always put either a raisin or a nut under the crackers too, and this kind of helps because if you have fruit and it starts as the night wears on to get warm, and especially if it's outside, then it won't make your crackers wet. And so they don't get soggy, which is kind of fun.
So you're putting the nuts under the crackers, you said.
I always like to put stuff under other things too, because when you start to take the crackers out, it's not an empty space. And it doesn't have this hole to it.
Yeah.
Which I think also makes it very nice. And then I'll accent with, we dehydrate these strawberries in-house, which is what we use for our strawberry tea. So I'll put those on the outside, kind of under, where there's not kind of red stuff. I like that a lot. And they taste like fruit roll-ups. It's just a strawberry.
It's just a dehydrated
They're really
strawberry.
wonderful. People can use them like a cracker with some of the softer cheeses. Those are really fun. The same thing with these little Meyer lemon wheels.
Oh, those are fun
We'll
too.
kind of like put these around kind of flat so that you can see them.
Yeah, this is really beyond just meat and cheese. Like this is, and I so appreciate that. I would so much rather have the fruits and vegetables on here. Christopher could eat all the meat and cheese for days. So
here, those in there too. These are little Hindu Kush air-dried white mulberries, and this is from a company named Ziba that I absolutely love. They're one of our farm partners, and they are ran completely, well, I said maybe 98% by women in Afghanistan.
Really?
And they pay the paychecks directly to the women, which is not very traditional over there too. So it creates a lot of financial independence from them. And they really like wild forage this stuff too. And it's never treated with sulfites. They handpick like these dried apricots from the tree instead of the ground. And they're just really pure whole foods too.
I love that.
We use them as granola in here, but also like naturally gluten-free. And like has a different texture to it too. That kind of is like the blackberry. So generally I wouldn't put them around them, but they're over here. So breaking my own rules.
So mindful on what you put on your charcuterie. I love it.
And then I'll kind of leave, these are Cara oranges, and these are seasonal too. And I'll kind of put these around as like a falling is something we fix all the time. On there, and maybe tuck them into the other side.
Love it.
You can do that.
I love that color.
The same thing with this dehydrated ginger too. Generally, we would put this by blue cheese.
We don't have any blue cheese.
We don't have any blue cheese on here. Blue cheese is very divisive.
Oh,
People
really?
either love it or they hate it.
Yeah, very polarizing, that blue cheese.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it's my favorite part, garnishing. So you have mint, mint flowers, so a different kind of mint. These are really beautiful, and you can totally eat all of these.
You can eat all of that, stem and everything.
Yep, you can eat the whole thing.
I serve Christopher charcuterie with leaves on it. Y'all are going to hear about it. I'll tell you that right now. But
we make teas with these too.
So great.
I like to make
oh my goodness, I'm so nervous
bouquets
about this.
with these. You can put them in either like do it at first, or you can just kind of put them in, but I'll always kind of group them together, also away from each other. So somewhere over here, perfect.
I have never made anything prettier in my whole life. Never.
And then I'll put sage kind of under it. So that's kind of like a big leaf, contrast within contrast.
Yeah.
Like that. Just like so.
Thank you.
And this is Elysium. It tastes just like broccoli.
Oh, really?
Very fun.
This goes
I like the little white flowers too, because they'll totally pop.
Yes.
Everything else. This is my favorite because it'll really it really brings it all together, and it smells so good.
It does smell so good. This smells really good.
Maybe plug these in, maybe somewhere under the side. I like when people like discover things.
Yeah. Oh, I'm discovering all kinds of things right now. Yes. I have never in my life thought to put a flower in anything I've ever made. So
these are basil flowers.
These are basil flowers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or those are still mint. These long
those are
ones,
basil.
Yeah.
Okay, what was this?
That is mint.
can't tell you how good this smells.
Yeah.
Like, so fresh.
Mm-hmm. It'll keep bugs away, too.
Oh,
the mint.
perfect.
And when we get to season lemongrass as well.
Olivia, this is impressive. I don't know that it's the prettiest charcuterie you've ever made, but it is for sure the prettiest charcuterie I have ever made.
It's beautiful.
I love it. This is amazing.
Oh, yeah. And then I'll kind of, especially with these, like I love these little grins, like 2.5 ounces.
Okay.
And I can have a ton of these out. A lot of people like their own of these when we do stuff. So everybody kind of gets their own little.
And you like spread that on the cracker or whatever? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could put it in there if you were going to give it as a gift to somebody, or you can kind of leave it on the side.
This is amazing. Thank you so much for teaching us how to do this. I really hope this was helpful for y'all as this was for me. Like you said, I've discovered a lot of things that I would have never discovered if I hadn't had you alongside me to show me how to do this. So ladies, I hope this is helpful for you. I expect to hear all kinds of stories from the men at church about how their wives put some flowers in their dinner and really gave it some pop. I know my husband's going to be real surprised here in the next few days on my dinner presentation. So this is amazing. Thank you so much, Olivia, for taking your time to do this.
Yeah.
The restaurant's incredible. Y'all need to check out Fount Board and Table. It's in Dallas, not far from us at all. It's an amazing setup. I have had a latte, everything. Oh, that sandwich was amazing, by the way.
Thank
you got to come check it out. Thank you so much for having us, teaching us how to do this. See y'all later.